Nice to see you guys. All right, hi everyone. I think some people don't know me here. My name is Rodion. I'm 20. I was born in Russia, but I live in Finland. Uh, yeah, so today I wanted to talk about. Um, I was like reflecting about a couple of situations yesterday, and I just wanted to share them. And I will start with like two facts about me, just to give some context to this talk. I've always considered myself a very individualistic person. I've always thought, and I still think that like no one knows better than me what's best for me. And yeah, it's the first fact. And the other fact is that I have like a very high, very big ego, to the extent that it's like I'm not very confident talking about that, but part of me deep down, deep inside, still believes that if almost like if everyone was like me, the world would be perfect. So like, just have a very big ego. And but recently, I mean yesterday, I've been thinking about three situations in my life that kind of at least partially proved me that I was wrong. Uh, and the first one is with my mother. From a very young age, like my mom is like very churchy, like very very devout, moody, and but I wasn't so much like that. I was a very highly rebellious child, and I hated going to workshops, and I remember getting away with a bad company and like things like that. And my mom is like also a very tough person in a way, and she kind of forced me to go to workshops. It's like when when she did it, after coming back home from the workshops, I never regretted going there in the first place. But whenever like it was like very hard for her to actually get me to go there, but she was doing it, and she made huge sacrifices to send me to some of the workshops because I went to some very cool workshops, some workshops in Chongpyeong. And yeah, she when I was 12, she took me on a trip to Korea. Went to Jeju. It's like a resort island, and we're staying there. Drinking some $10 smoothies every day, and like surfing and stuff like that. And I was like, then she took me to the center of Seoul, and she had friends there, and we were like, having a very yeah, having spending time in a very expensive way. And then we went to Champon, and she was buying me a lot of stuff there. And even there, I was like, I hated being there. Like, I didn't want to go there. And she like got, I think she got into debt very deeply, which you need to pay off for a year after that. But some of the impressions, some of the experiences that I had there and some of the memories that I have from here are probably some of the like brightest memories that I have, which really, made that like a huge like influence me very strongly in the years to come after that. Uh, and so yeah, she was like doing it, and then also for the past like half a year, I've been doing home decay with my parents every day, and the official part is only like 21 minutes, but uh, basically, usually after the Hood kid would, discuss something. I always have a lot of questions, and the way I have like a very particular, like a very, and maybe a little bit unusual way of, studying the teachings, which is very natural to me, but which is, I'm not proud of that at all. Basically, like I take almost every paragraph and I try to prove it wrong. It's like, I'm almost like trashing it. I'm trying to show how illogical it is and how nonsensical it is and so on. And it's like, sometimes I go too far with that and kind of hurts my parents because they kind of, believe in it. And, I'm just kind of saying that not very nice things about all that. But, they're like very, uh, they kind of put up with that, and they explain me, and they explain to me all those things every time in a very calm calm manner, fashion. And because because they have been able, yeah, it's the first situation. I'll come back to explain it more. The second situation is with my teacher. I had an English teacher at school, and when I was 12, I didn't speak a word of English, but all my classmates did, and I skipped the first half year, like the first half of the school year that year because I had an injury and I just didn't go to school. And they got a new teacher who was like very strict, and but I was like a slacker. I cheated my way through school. But that teacher, like, that was the only teacher who didn't let me cheat, who didn't let me to just uh, get away without learning anything. And so she was like very, very tough on me. And like there were some assignments that would take others 20 minutes, and I would have to spend like over 3 hours to do them. But she was like very like, yeah, I actually had to do that. And because of that, it's like 2 3 years later, I got maybe to the top of my class in terms of knowing English. It was I think only because of that teacher, only because she was so tough on me and stuff. Though I resisted in all possible ways, but she made me do it. Um, and yeah, the third situation, which I'm gonna tell before I will get into explaining all this, was with my friend. Basically, I had a very close friend in my last year of middle school. His name was Anton, and he's like, yeah, he was like, the opposite of me, I would say, like, in terms of his opinions. But we were very close, and we just argued all the time, like all day long, in all classes. And I remember after school we'd just go to the metro together and just have those very fast-paced conversations discussing some word problems, and then we'd ride a metro and also talk, and then we'd get out of the train on a station, and then it would just stand like next, like near a wall. And just I remember one time we were just standing on a platform near a wall and talking for like 3 hours straight, just nonstop. We're like very fast paced, like at a very fast pace, basically. And yeah, because we just couldn't agree on anything. We were just and those conversations, although we could not agree on anything, although we would just sort of were like the entire opposites, because we were having those conversations. It made us very close eventually. And although we disagreed on pretty much everything, we were like very, very close. And yeah, the same was probably with just getting into explaining the meaning of those situations to me. That situation with my family, with my mom in particular, who's very different in her views of the church than me. She's far less liberal than me, I would say. Yeah, because she never, I kind of every day, literally every day, I am very hard, I'm trying very hard to prove her that some of the some of the things that are said in the books and the Holy Scripture are just nonsensical. And I'm trying very, very hard, and I'm making perfectly logical arguments for why what I say is the case. And but she never agrees. Sometimes she doesn't have, she cannot just you know prove me wrong, but she never agrees, and she never gives in. And that made me think more and try to understand her better. And eventually it kind of made us closer. And at one point I've kind of now I'm kind of thankful to her that she actually never agrees with me, because just the amount that I've been able to understand, some of the some parts of the teachings that I've been able to understand because I had to like actually think about it more because she wouldn't agree. Like, yeah, it let me understand much more than I would have if it wasn't for her. And so, yeah, what some of the like conclusions that I've made was that like not all people in your life should be like-minded to you. Like, or at least I've always, tried to attract, like-minded people. I always wanted people who had like similar opinions to mine. And it's like, whenever people don't think like me about certain things, I always try to prove them wrong. Usually I try very hard, and sometimes I go over the top and like literally use every possibility, every opportunity that I get to prove them wrong and to show them how they're wrong. And I do it like all the time, and sometimes it hurts our relationships. And I've realized that like maybe it's not, I don't actually need to change how what people think. Even if I think I can, I think that I have a perfectly logical argument. For my experiences, it's extremely difficult to actually change what people think. And at the same time, it's like it's not just not worth it. It's like it's good that they think differently than I do, because it allows me to like look at things from a different perspective, which is very valuable. And yeah, and even it's like it also applies to very close people, like my mom in this example. That I like I just get an entirely different perspective on the things every time I talk to her, and it's extremely valuable. And no matter it doesn't, the fact that we just don't agree on so many things doesn't actually stand in the way of us uh, you know developing a relationship and getting closer and actually moving continuing on their own lives. um yeah, and if it wasn't for people who actually disagree with you, if it wasn't for people who uh yeah who to challenge you, who sort of make you look, at things from a different perspective, you would miss out on so many things in your life. Like you those people make you realize that your perspective is actually very narrow. um, um yeah, just a second. And yeah, so I think we should kind of learn to appreciate it, instead of trying to prove ourselves right and others wrong. And this is what I've been doing a lot in my life. We should kind of appreciate the diversity of different opinions. And um, yeah, actually, because there is a lot of benefit in it for us. Like, I'm glad that my parents never really agreed with me when I criticized the teachings. I'm glad that they actually made me to go to the workshops, because if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be in the church now. I'm pretty sure about that, because I was exactly the kind of person who would most likely not stay in the church. I was very close to quitting it many times, but because they kind of did everything to keep me in the church, now I'm extremely thankful to them. And I'm like, there are so many things that I've been able to experience, so many things that I have access to, because I consider myself part of the community. Um, so it was all because my parents kind of refused to agree with me, refused to play the game.
This is so good.
Sorry. Can I continue? Okay. And yeah, sorry, I'm a bit disorganized. Yeah, so I think there's a role for people, for especially for some very close people like our parents. If you completely disagree with them on some things, I think they were sent to your life like God for a reason. It's like God, they have a role. They're not just my mom is so churchy and so moody, and like a lot of Christian members are not as loud as her. And she's so tough, and only because of that was she able to do what she did, which resulted into me staying in the church. So yeah, I think the idea, the conclusion is that we should kind of appreciate more uh, people, like people with different opinions, and try to learn more from them. And it's not bad to have a spouse who has very different opinions than yours. But probably not on all topics. Probably she should have the same values as yours, but you know who's more church or less church and whatever. Um, yeah, I think this is it. Thank you very much for listening. Um, I've actually not taken enough time to prepare the questions. I only have two. They're not very good. So I think you could just yeah, I just put them in the chat. I only have two, as I said, but feel free to come up with more. Maybe we can come up with more now. I don't know. Oh, wait, sorry. Just a second. Yeah, here they are. Thank you for listening.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, the questions are, can we relate to what Rodion talked about? And okay, yeah, take care, Rory. And how do you put up with people you disagree with? Have a great time in Ireland. Connor, enjoy yourself.